basically.
Yeah,
Kathy.
some places don't use them for utilities.
Randy Robertson. What
We'll
happened?
never have one.
No, he's gone already.
But yeah, I didn't know
7 weeks
anything
in.
about.
7 weeks.
We had
Yeah,
stuff
I read
stashed-
an
we had stuff
article
stashed
today.
there, like,
I'm worried
but,
like something
there's nowhere
happened.
they-
I mean, it didn't seem,
Well, something happened.
They had.
well, I know, but it seemed amicable,
Plan.
Mhm.
Right.
the party.
Yeah. they were-
So the article said, that doesn't mean anything.
Wow, we're not halfway for. I'll have to see, I'll have to have him send me
Oh.
that pin and see where they were.
Rogers,
Just out of curiosity.
You mean he'll know?
All right, we're live here now. So I can tell you. All right. Am I muted?
I think I did.
Okay.
I'm running out of pages. Yeah, but I'm gonna be done with it. I was hoping to make it through.
Oh,
Wow.
because you're like,
Start 2026.
have your own gavel.
Okay. Yeah. Public hearing, I'm sorry, so city council work session of November 19th, 2025. I will bring to order and with the clerk call roll.
Mayor Smith,
Here.
Deborah Adams,
Here.
Aaron Hanson,
Here.
Casey Kinsman,
Here.
Mike Mickelson. Absent for now, he said he might be a little bit late. Wendy Rainey. Here. Kathy Sherman.
Here.
Dave Zastro.
Here.
All of council is present, or 6 are present. Yes.
Okay, so. It's Groundhog Day, work session topic is our 2026 budget. It's November 19th. Yeah, a few times, yeah. So. Meeting frequently, and yeah, there's a memo from the city manager, and I will turn it over to her. Okay. Are you on? I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about the budget a whole lot. We brought forward what was discussed in the work session last time, which was basically just agreeing to those cuts that were made for round 4, and we are at a zero balance budget. In this packet are also the enterprise funds budgets also zeroed out. And the fee schedule is separate from the budget resolution, but the budget resolution needs extra time. I'm gonna let Susan explain that advertising time.
But just that for approval of the budget, we have to advertise that there will be a public hearing approving, public hearing on the budget 1 week ahead. Which is a little bit different than normal, but I will do that next week on Wednesday. Yes, which would allow us to pass the budget on December 3rd, at our first December meeting.
So at this point in time, we're bringing forward what's in the packet. And we assume that we have concurrence, we'll be talking about concurrence, because we're gonna advertise so that we can vote on it on December 3rd.
If I may ask a question.
Yes.
So just to be clear, so we have to have a public hearing, that would be next Wednesday if we're moving forward. With no changes, right?
On December 3rd is the public hearing. The requirement is that 1 week ahead, you have to advertise that the public hearing is occurring.
Right.
Normally, we advertise 5 days ahead, Friday for a Wednesday meeting. Instead, it's Wednesday for a Wednesday budget approval. Okay.
So at a minimum 5 days, by the way, that be.
Normally, it's 5 days for the budget, it's required to do it 7 days. Which works out because it's Thanksgiving anyway, and I'm putting that packet out on the Wednesday anyway. All good.
And I guess also too, so we've got some new sheets for the fee schedule, and there's highlighted elements. Are those changes that were made from last time?
No, they just were errors left out from, yes, I guess they are changes. they had been given to me, but they didn't make the packet correctly. The one on the Cordova Center page is just a $5 difference on $30 an hour for an AV tech. I had put it in as 25, which was last year's number. And for some reason, the 3 lines at the bottom of the Cordova Center page, that just kind of talks about different rooms. I just had gotten cut off. And then the fire department one, Aaron told me, and I just didn't get it in there, but they had said $20 per member per incident and $20 per member per Thursday night training, but in fact, they've been doing that at 25 for a while, he said, so
Oh,
those are just edits.
thank you.
Questions for the city manager about her memo? Town fund budget, or the enterprise funds? Funds, budgets.
Is that another question?
Is that too many plurals? I didn't, I thought that was the right way.
So in your memo, you referenced the November 18th CTC meeting. I
Yep.
guess they made a decision last time.
Yes. So are we ready to move on to the match? Because that's really not part of the budget. It is not in the budget. So if we're ready, it's in the memo, yes.
Yeah, it's in the memo.
But if are we ready to?
I have one more question about this budget earlier. Sure, okay, so I just wanted for clarification. So say the skies open up in February of 2026 or March of 2026, and we start to get maybe retro money back from. I know I'm dreaming, from the feds or the states or something, but we always have the opportunity to amend the budget in the year, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so I wanted to just clarify and make sure.
Thank you, I had that same question.
And if we did have a substantial change like that, either to the good or not so great, yeah, we would come forward with a budget amendment as we did this year when we did not receive the revenue we were.
Yeah. I'm just putting those
Both.
positive
Yep, it works both ways.
and.
Okay, we're ready for the match.
Any questions from folks online?
In relation to the positive negative, it's kind of a negative, what happened out of here.
Correct.
Yeah.
But they're also, they're, the budget issues as well, so you have to be. As any of us, it's a hard decision, but yes, and then they have contributed money to this, because originally. CEC, CTC and MVE all contributed, CEC and CTC was 150 and the MVE was 130. So they have contributed money to this project in the past. This was an additional ask after 6 years of trying to get the project on the road and things going up.
Huntington.
So yes, no additional funds from CTC, which. So,
Does Casey have his hand up?
oh,
Yeah. Yeah, Councilmember Kinsman?
Yeah, I think we've all spoken. I appreciate the work's that has gone into this, and I still, I guess, want it to be known that don't necessarily agree with the cut to chamber funding, but I think you all have expressed your counter opinions to my opinion, and I'm just one voice. So I did notice in there that is a hit, and I know I missed and was listening to, but is there any more context from like Hannah and cutting the CCMC budget down to 100,000?
we did have a discussion and she offered it up.
Okay. Nope, it's appreciated. I know there's been cuts at the city. I know it's all been tough. I would, at the very least, like some kind of, I don't know. I think for the chamber side, some kind of funding allocated in the future to them. I've said that this whole budget process, that some of our tax, some of our sales tax, some of our excess tax, I feel absolutely should be allocated to them. But again, we've gone through the process. You all have made your opinions very clear. So, and I think there's been definitely far more support from the community in favor of funding than not funding. I think I've only really seen one individual make a comment of no support. So that's all I have to say. But thank you. I know that there's, sorry, I think I just went off mute, but tongue in cheek of like, I do appreciate, I know tough decisions have been made. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just like to take a little exception to representing the rest of the council as not being in support of the chamber. I think we've all expressed our support for the chamber. And we would love to be able to support everybody in the community that does good work. So I would disagree with Councilmember Kinsman that the rest of us weren't in support of the chamber. I think all of us would like to see a way to find additional funding if that were to come through later in this budget cycle. But right now, we're letting employees go, we're cutting services, and we've got a lot of hard decisions. It's not a lack of support, it's priorities. So I would like to see the city and the chamber move forward with looking at what we've been discussing in recent months about some level of MOU where we look at roles, responsibilities, and revenue expectations and find some solutions for the long term. But right now, today, with the budget we're in right now, it just doesn't seem feasible. So I think I speak for the other council members that were all supportive of chambers. I think that's unfair to say that we're not.
If I might, Madam Mayor, thank you, Councilmember Zastro, and that comment. But it does come down to funding. That is support. That is the support they're asking for. And so I appreciate the willingness to look at it moving forward and looking at something sustainable moving forward. We're just not there at this moment. So thank you for that clarification.
Madam Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Adams.
Thank you, Councilman Zastro, for speaking up. And yes, I indeed support the chamber and all that they do. I just don't know that right at this moment we cannot financially support them. And I know it's not in the budget, as Councilman Sherman has mentioned, that, you know, if there are changes come January, come February, that would be the first thing we might look at. And I know it's not in the budget right now, but we have a land sale of 74,000 and another parcel for 53,000 in our packet, and that's $127,000. And I would like to be very cautious and aware about where that money goes and how it will be utilized, given that we've made so many cuts.
Thank you, Councilmember Adams. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all hoping that we can identify some funds that something could shift, and we're not there at the moment. Okay, yeah, so the city manager has proposed an approach for funding the match to the Second Street upgrades, which does rest heavily on land sale, primarily selling the Second Street lots to NVE.
Yes, so we're in negotiation with NVE. CC is pretty much done. I mean, there's some formalities to go through, but
The land sale, you mean?
the CC land sale.
Yeah, I'm just saying that because they're listed under twice on
Yeah.
page 2, yeah, that's just.
So I think, you know, it comes down to, we do this or we take it out of the permanent fund. If we get 700,000 and we're putting it in the permanent fund, it doesn't make a lot of sense to pull out stuff and sell it and do that. You know, we don't have this money hanging out as we've been through this discussion. So these are our ideas. Do you have any other?
No.
Thoughts? I'm open to suggestions, but I think in my mind, this is the most practical way to do it.
Well, I'm thankful for CEC's contribution, that's gonna make a huge difference.
Madam Mayor?
Councilmember Kinsman.
Yes, I also want to echo that sentiment for CEC's contribution. That's very significant and very generous, really. I mean, yeah, I guess I just want that on the record. Yes, thank you, CEC, for your contribution on the Second Street match. And to Council Member Adams' point, that is that land sale of CEC. I just heard the 75,000 that she referenced is included in that Second Street match. Is my understanding, unless I missed something, unless Councilmember Adams, you're referring to a different parcel of land.
Can I ask how I'm just thinking about the conversation at CTC, is that like final no, or is there any chance of that changing in the future?
I'd say it's a final no. I mean, they're dealing with their own issues.
Mhm.
I'm certainly not gonna be pounding on them.
Yeah,
I'm
I don't know.
thankful that they made the effort to have the discussion.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know anything about it, so I was just curious about how that went.
Madam Mayor?
Councilmember Adams.
Just Councilman Kinsman has raised the question, and I just want to clarify that the land sale to CEC, 75,000, is that separate from this match?
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
They're both here.
Well, the match is 400,000, the land sale is 75, and yes, they are both in this table, but they're not.
but
The
there's only one-
400,000 does not include the
Right, and
75,000.
there's only one land sale to CEC for 75,000.
Yes.
Right,
Okay.
so
thank you. I just wanted that to be clear. I thought I was thinking maybe I misread it then. Okay, thank you.
yeah. So. We need to also. Okay, so, I guess if people don't have any other questions about the budget. Or the general fund budget or the enterprise funds budgets. And fee schedule, we can. During the work session.
The only thing I was thinking about is if anything happens at the regular meeting. That you may wanna revisit discussion on any part of the budget, you might just choose to recess it instead.
Sure.
I also want to just make sure like we have concurrence to move forward with this idea of the match. Cause if we don't, I even.
I think it would be good to go around the room on consensus on the budget and the match. Okay, words. For the record, okay. Would you like to start?
Sure, I'm in favor of the budget as presented tonight and the proposal for the match for Second Street.
So very good.
I'm in favor of the budget proposed tonight and the match listed in the memo this evening.
Councilmember Hanson,
I'm in favor of the budget as presented and match. In favor of both as presented.
Online, Councilmember Kinsman,
Yes, I'm in favor. I would just, I guess I do have a question on what is the process for raising the public accommodation surtax? That can be done at any time during the year, right? It doesn't have to be done at this point, correct?
It would be an ordinance that takes 2 readings at 30 days.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
Yeah.
I just want to know the process. That's all. I know currently it's at 6%. We raised our sales tax to 7. So, okay.
It kind of is easier to do it when it comes effective January 1st, but we could do it at a quarter.
yes, we've done that, that's before.
Okay. And that's what I thought we had done in the, like, there have been examples of that in the past. Okay. That's what I wanted to know, especially there might be an opportunity there instead of pulling out of our AMLET account that even 25,000 and raising that and raising revenue for that. And also just making the comment for the public to hear that if there really is that much interest in funding the chamber, that's also an opportunity for revenue to come in coming from something that I don't know the percentage, and we can differ on the percentage. And I think there's more research to be done on the percentage of what value the chamber adds, what that percentage is. But there, I think, could be a case made of even 0.5% being directly correlated to the chamber. But that was all. I just want to know the process. Thank you. And I'm in support of the budget as presented and the Second Street upgrade and match as presented. So
Councilmember Adams,
I'm in favor of the budget as presented and the Second Street match as well.
do you have other comments? Right, well then maybe let's, unless there's an objection, we can go and recess the work session. Okay, yeah, so we'll recess at, 6:52. And we can move on to the public hearing. So I will call the City Council public hearing of November 19th, 2025 to order. 6:52, and if the clerk could call the roll.
Mayor Smith,
Here.
Deborah Adams,
Here,
Aaron Hanson,
Here.
Casey Kinsman,
here.
Mike Mickelson is absent, Wendy Rainey,
Here.
Kathy Sherman,
Here.
Dave Zastro.
Here.
The formal council.
Okay, so we are having a public hearing on ordinance 1236, an ordinance of the council of the city of Cordova, Alaska, authorizing the city manager to enter into a purchase and sale agreement with Cordova Electric Cooperative for an approximately 2.14 acre portion of ATS 220. Anybody wish to comment on the ordinance on 1236? We will recess the public hearing for a few minutes. This will come back
In a few minutes.
in a few minutes. I don't know what's safe to let people know what.
See, it says stop live stream. That makes me nervous.
Let's go.
Build that moral support.
Yay.
I understand.
We're gonna call the regular city council.
Wait. We were still in the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, right.
Okay.
So we'll come back to the public hearing on ordinance 1236. Does anybody have any comments on the ordinance? Think maybe not. Okay, let's adjourn the public hearing. At 7. And we will call the regular city council meeting to order at 7, regular council meeting of November 19th, 2025. And let's we join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we'll clerk all the way.
One call roll. Mayor Smith,
Here.
Deborah Adams,
Here.
Aaron Hansen,
Here.
Casey Kinsman,
Here.
Mike Mickelson,
Here.
Wendy Rainey,
Here.
Patty Sherman,
Here.
Dave Zastra.
Here.
That is all the council.
Great. Okay, approval of the regular agenda. Does anybody have any modifications to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, we'll consider the agenda approved as presented, or I guess all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any
Aye.
any opposed? Agenda is approved. Disclosures of conflict of interest in ex parte communication. Does anybody have any conflicts or ex parte communication to declare? Okay. Communications by and petitions from visitors. We have some guest speakers tonight from the Copper River Watershed Project. Yes. Hey, welcome Kate and Amy.
And Amy, do you ask me to share? Is that how it works?
I'm prepared to share. Let me just cue this up. I think I just need to get your permission to be able to share my screen.
It's just, I don't know what to
Well, good evening. I'm Kate Morse, the Executive Director for the Copper River Watershed Project. And first, just want to start by thanking everybody for the time and the hard decisions and hard conversations you're having to have. The last time I was here, we were having a hard conversation, so I'm excited to be back. I think we've made some progress on some things, so hopefully this can be an uplifting feeling of things still come from the hard conversations. So specifically, we're talking about the EAC Lake Weir. The last time I was here, we were talking about the ownership challenges that we were facing, and appreciate that the city of Cordova is working with us to be able to take over ownership structure. And I'm gonna turn it over to our partnership coordinator, Amy, who, due to some upcoming holiday travel and the fact that I had some trouble with recent travel and overflew Cordova, she decided not to try to make it to town, but we'll, talk virtually. But we also have some folks in the room that, if there are any questions, we have a deep bench. We have our design engineer from Dow, Ewan here from Dow Engineers. And we also have some other folks from our team, our restoration specialist, Darcy Saget, and our hydrologist and fisheries biologist, Kirsty Trupka. So we're all here to represent and be a part of the team that's getting this project to the finish line, even if that finish line gets further away. So, Amy, take it away.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, everybody. Can everyone hear me, and can everybody see the presentation that's up?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. If anything changes, just let me know. Well, as Kate said, I'm Amy Scudder. I'm the partnership administrator with the Watershed Project, and thanks for having me join you virtually tonight. I know that you've all been in the middle of the budget work, so I just want to express my sincere appreciation for the partnership, support, and the attention that the city has given to the EAC Lake Weir project over quite the last few years. Tonight's presentation, what I really want to focus on is the process that the city would like to follow to confirm the ownership of the new structure once that's finally completed. And spoiler alert, we do think that that will be in spring of 2027. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, but there is an opportunity, as Kate mentioned, at the end for discussion and questions. So three things that I want to go over tonight. One is just provide you all with an update of where we are in the timeline, have an overview of the maintenance and operation schedule. And then there was also a draft of a memorandum of agreement that was in your packets. And then really the big part is just to understand the process that the city and the council would like to use, whether that's through a resolution or another mechanism to formally establish what the ownership would be once the new structure is completed. So before we get any further, I just want to show you a digital rendering that our design team at Dowell put together. So this is the future that we've all been looking for, and this is what we hope, we intend that the new weir will look like. It won't be like this exactly, but something similar to look forward to, and we'll go back to this again in a little bit. For those of you that have been involved in the project for a long time, thank you. For those of you that are newer or want a little refresher, the purpose has just been to replace the aging structure that's on the outlet of the lake with one that is new and improves the fish passage between the lake and the river. Since the project started, we've had multiple partners and funders. The City of Cordova is one. This is some of the key partners that have been integral in the process. And probably the big question in everybody's mind right now is, when are we going to start constructing? And we did have some delays due to the federal funding freezes this year, and I'll give an update on where we are for timelines. Also, going back a little bit on the history of the project, the structure that's in place right now was built in 1972 after the Good Friday earthquake. And how this relates to the ownership is that this was built by a state agency that no longer exists. So the ownership never really transferred. There isn't a clean title or deed for the structure. And this ownership gap has made the permitting and replacement project a lot more complex. And it's why we're here tonight to discuss with you all and confirm the city's preferred process of how to move forward. I do want to focus our timeline on what's happening now and really over the next coming years as we move into our active construction phase. But before that, I just do want to call out that about the last 5 years have been the design process. And that's when the ownership discussions, presentations, and collaboration really began. Again, there was a summary of some of those discussions that was in your packets. If you have any specific questions, please let us know. We can add some clarification there. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, the federal funding delays impacted our timelines. So in January, start of this year, we were going through our evaluation process of the proposals. And in the middle of that process was when we found out that funding from the Federal Highway Administration was on hold. So that delayed our ability to issue a contract. However, during that time, the watershed project did buy our steel sheet pile. So that's the structural pieces that are going to make up the bulk of the new weir. And those were purchased very early, anticipating that costs for steel and potentially tariffs could raise those prices. Those should be coming to Cordova within the next couple of months. They'll be shipping up here. So you'll start to see the actual pieces of the new weir getting staged in town. Where we are right now is working through the pre-construction meetings with our contractor, Granite, working through these final permit pieces. And a part of that is the memorandum of agreement for the maintenance and operation, and then the ownership process. So we're going to be working on this, and towards the end of the year, a dewatering plan. So that will get submitted. That will allow us to understand what our time frame is with the permits. And we expect that we will be in active construction next winter. This is just because we have a pretty short window of when we can do the in-water work, that it doesn't do anything bad for the fish passage in the lake. Again, if you have more questions about that, we have some of our experts in the room between Kate, Dusty, Kirsty, and you in there. But in terms of the city, the date that you really can focus on is in spring of 2027. That's when the new structure will be finally completed. So all of the agreements and all the pieces that we're talking about from the city side of things, those would go into effect upon final completion. So that's when that final structure has been gone through all of its, all the back and forth has happened, and that is outlined in our contract. I just talked a lot about the whole process, but I wanted to go back to that first picture of the what the weir would look like. So this is just what the design looked like for the 100% design. So this is what we took on paper, and those black dots are a lot of rocks. So that idea that has been in the works and they're planning for about 5 years does translate to what this will look like at the end. And I'm sharing this again because of the two pieces that we're asking the city to look at tonight. So one is, what is that mechanism again for documenting the ownership? And the new structure that's in place is not going to look anything like what you're seeing visually now. So it's maybe it's a little bit of a leap, but I want you to be thinking on, go back here, on this is what's coming up and not this. So one option that's out there for documenting ownership is through a resolution. And there is a draft just to start as a place to talk about this. And a resolution could clearly state the city's intent to assume ownership after the weir is finally constructed. This would also meet the documentation requirements of the state and federal permitting agencies, allowing that process to move forward as well. The second piece, which is a parallel but distinct, different process, is the maintenance and operations. And this would be a memorandum of agreement. There are a lot of like M's and O's and A's in all of this piece right here, but this would be an agreement between the Copper River Watershed Project, the city, and the Department of Transportation. And this would outline the differences for inspection and operations. If you had a chance to look through that manual that was included at all, you can note that when the weir was designed, it's really been designed to be a passive system that needs no to little maintenance. There's no moving parts on it, and it's going to function as is with very, very minimal cost or interventions. And the observation piece would just be brief, this visual only observations going through a checklist. And then the city would be responsible for doing inspections at 10-year intervals. So we've had a lot of questions about what does it actually look like to inspect. And I want you to look at this and just think, if you are standing on the banks right here and looking at the structure and had this checklist in hand, this is what the visual observation piece would be. Ewan is available, I think, if you have more questions to talk about this specifically. But again, this is not a very involved, timely process. And that was a pretty fast and furious overview, but I do want to open it up for any discussion or questions. And again, I just want to reiterate that we really appreciate your ongoing support and partnership as we work through these last pieces. Thanks.
Thanks, Amy. Yeah, Mike, Councilmember Mickelson, it looks like you have a question.
I do not. I'm not sure how that got turned on.
There.
Yeah, Councilmember Zasper.
Yeah, Amy, thank you. Great presentation. And I think you and Kate could probably do this in your sleep, this presentation. You know, you've given it a lot over the years. A question I have about the visual observation. As you say, it's pretty simple, but does that require any kind of specific training or certification for somebody to be able to do that?
No.
She walked out.
So I can answer that. No is the answer. At the back of the weir manual, you'll see there's a condition rating guideline that will step anyone through the process of completing the forms in a meaningful way, just so everyone's on the same playing field to work from.
Right. And that would be twice a year is the expectation of visual observation.
So there was a typo in the original 4. It will be biennial, so every 2 years. And that was intended to sync up with DOT's inspection of bridges, so when they're in town, they can have a review of the bridge and alert the city if anything was the action. Right.
And then the 10-year inspection would be an engineering inspection.
That would be correct, yeah.
Yeah. And is the expectation with our partner working with DOT, would that be their engineers, or that be an expectation of city engineers?
And that's depending on whether DOT would be comfortable doing that. I am subject to the MOA, it can be, but any engineers, the C-SWIP.
And as reading through the information, the expectation would be the city would maintain all of that information on file. All inspections would be something maintained by the city.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for clarification.
Thank you for your questions, that's all. Any other questions online or around the table?
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councilmember Kinsman?
Yeah, I guess I'd just like to hear from the city manager. I know I've been involved with this process, but just want to confirm that you don't have any issues or concerns with this inspection process and documenting that and retaining that documentation. And if so, I just want to give you an opportunity to speak to that.
Yeah, so we've been working with Kate, and the crew for a while on this. I think we're still hammering out a few things but in general, we're moving in the right direction and we're getting things done. I do think we still have a few things to hammer out, but we'll get there. I'm pretty comfortable with it at this point, and Kevin's been very involved in the whole planning and drawings and everything, so he has a good hand on it. And I think the most important thing is that we just have some good documentation and training. I know it doesn't require any training, but it's good to have multiple people and how to do it. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
No, I appreciate that. And then I really appreciate the documentation and the thoroughness of that, because if we're looking at every 10-year inspections, realistically, we need to be looking at different administration and people who are going to be taking this on. It's just the nature of it. So thank you.
Thanks, Councilmember Zaspert.
Yeah, just a procedural question. I know that you've been getting a big delay by all kinds of things when it comes to permitting over the course of the whole project. And this requires to move forward with permitting that the MOA and resolution are completed before permitting can be done. Is that right?
I think that we have the support we need from Fish and Game, believing like these conversations is giving them the confidence that the ownership pathway is being addressed. And so the paperwork, that timeline isn't as necessary. It's just that there's not like a title or a deed that, we want to have some documentation at the end of this, like we don't have at the beginning of it, so that this is easier if there is a next time that it needs to happen. I will say that like there are permits for implementing the project, but the lake is navigable waterways, and so the bottom of the lake is Department of Natural Resource Land. So we're working whether it's going to be a permanent easement or another document that they just suggested 3 years into the process that might also be an option. Examples of how other cities have, like Chena River has a boat ramp that the city owns in a permanent agreement with DNR. So it might be something similar like that. And then there's also, it intersects into the Copper River Highway, so there's a chunk that goes into DOT right away, and the commissioner of DOT, or not the commissioner, the head of right away was with us at one of our previous conversations. And so they are prepared to grant the permanent encroachment for the structure as well. So there will be the two entities of the state that are granting the permission within their right of way and their lands as well. So that should be great to have at the completion of the project finalized, but yeah, moving lots of pieces on this.
Right. So, yeah, I guess I'm just curious that I guess as a council and as a city, not holding up the process as far as the timeline for a resolution to be completed.
You're not. Gotta check with the permit expert back there, but she says, we have time, but we just, I mean, it'd just be nice for, everybody wants to be able to tie some things up, and so we're getting closer, so, we'll keep you posted if we get to a point though that we're getting crunched, but.
We can do a resolution on pretty short notice, so. I'm not part of the MOA though. And it'll get recorded, I guess, as a document on the recorder's office or
Definitely, I think we should.
yeah, I would agree. That sure applies.
Because then somebody can go look it up.
I appreciate too, I'm going over the information, but also I looked at a lot of the 7 things that changed, it's changed a lot, right? But identifying different elements of the project and what really is the responsibility of the city, and what's the responsibility of fish passage and so there. It's good to see that there are elements that don't necessarily pertain to the city, that are being dealt with by other entities, and just recognition of that. It's interesting.
Yeah, and I think, it's the intention and expectation is not that if, heaven forbid, there is an event that leads to something that can impact the structure, that the money's not already in the bank necessarily to do something about it, but we're not gonna have 3 years of figuring out who we get permission from to be able to do something about it, and our organization, as long as we exist, are committed to keeping this infrastructure in perpetuity, and so would convene the same large group of partners that we have to figure out the best way to fund whatever might happen, but we have intentionally put a big effort up front to finding a design and paying a little bit more so that we don't have to keep paying over time, that we're trying to lock it in.
I can't tell you how much we all appreciate the watershed's to do all this, so thank you.
Hot potato, nobody wants to touch.
We're getting to eat it, we'll have a big potato feast at the end of it. And I also just will add, was appreciative, there was many folks on the council who also helped with reaching out to state and federal delegation when we were scrambling just to get the funding back so that we could try to get into contract, and so there's. In addition to the design and figuring out these pieces, just helping us chase down support to get the project back on track, has also been a team effort, and very much appreciate that. Your all support.
Nice to hear that it made a difference. Great. Well, thanks. Anything else we should know?
There's a presentation tomorrow night, 5:30 to
Yes,
6:30 at the Science Center, and that's where you can get a little bit more deeper into the details of the actual design, and you will still be here, and we'll also have some representatives from Granite Construction, because I know that there might be concerns of access and getting to the airport and how they might approach some of those pieces, and so they're all gonna be here tomorrow evening at the Science Center, and you can tune in virtually as well. And be able to get a little bit more of just the project details, because we just wanted to focus tonight on the ownership side, so. Hope to see some of you there.
Well, that one image was really striking, because I just remember seeing the design drawings. So you see the ribs in the wide, on the paper, when you see that image, there's nothing there, it's all underwater, yeah.
The lake and the river.
Which is the whole idea, to mimic natural flow conditions and natural topography, so yeah, it's pretty cool.
Great, well, thanks again, everyone, for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, so then we come to audience comments regarding agenda items. If anybody wants to speak about, yeah, that's next. About an agenda item, we're gonna keep it to 3 minutes per person.
Good evening, hi, Kathy Renfeld, 208 Railroad Row. Just wanted to tell you guys I appreciate you all, and I know you were working hard to try to make things work. It's not an easy job, and this is a tough year. Sam, you're like a magician over here. I know you're doing hard work. I think, the chambers, we're gonna we're gonna try to keep going as well. We'll see how we do. We got a little bit in reserves. And, it's not a long-term solution for us, and we're trying to raise money other ways too. We've increased our membership money as well, but this is a small community with small businesses and can only squeeze so much juice out of a turnip. So we're not trying to squeeze our businesses too hard, but we are looking for more corporate support. Our gala is this weekend. If you don't have tickets and you'd like to come, that's a great way that we have found to try to raise support for the chamber. And it's fun and it's a great way to celebrate our local business community. Couple tickets left, and there's a couple tickets up for grabs for the city as part of your support that you've given us for the past year. So if more funding becomes available this year, if we find out some revenues lines on the budget were higher than we anticipated they'd be, if there's some windfalls. And I think the most important thing for us is to find a path forward that's sustainable for the partnership between the chamber and the city. And so I am gonna be working on a draft of a MOU or an MOA that I'll share with Stan, and if anybody from, council wants to be involved in that process too, of course, I welcome that. And that would be a way for us all to move forward together. And so every year this takes time and energy on your guys' part and on the chamber's part, that maybe we can just smooth that out and get a more sustainable process moving forward. And that's all I want to say. So thanks to you all.
Thank you. Any other audience comments? Okay, chairpersons and representatives of boards and commissions. See, hello.
Hi, Sarah here, CCMC. I wanted to come and check in and let you all know we have finalized our community health needs assessment. Thank you. Many of you participated and many community members participated. We highlighted 3 main areas that are going to be our focus for the next 3 years. They really are areas that have also been our focus for years, but one always comes up is substance abuse and treatment and management. The other is elder care and helping people age in place here in Cordova. And we've identified people and our community groups in town that we can partner with. And then the third place, which is new, we haven't had it on our needs assessment in the past, but it's health literacy. And inside that health literacy, that includes educating people on health problems, preventative care. And we're also adding an area that's insurance education, helping people understand their insurance benefits and kind of how to navigate that world, and working with some of the local businesses to work with HR departments and make sure that they understand. Also, we want to continue to encourage everybody in Cordova to encourage your insurance provider to become in network with the providers in town. That's the hospital in the Alanka. It's so important that we in Cordova get payments from insurance companies. That's how we stay alive. Everybody's gonna see their premiums go up. Everybody's gonna see costs go up this next year. It's happening everywhere with healthcare. We want people to still come and get care, and if there is any issue with out-of-pocket expense, continue to encourage people to call us and come and talk to us directly. We want to help people with their out-of-pocket expense, but we want to get all the money we can out of the insurance companies. So help us do that by utilizing our services. Glad to answer any questions.
I think we would probably just say thank you for making your contribution to closing our budget deficit this year.
You guys have been supporting us with the appropriation help, and we've been trying to put that toward capital improvement, just some of the stuff that we haven't been able to catch up on. We are really hopeful that this year with the rural health transformation money and then possibly a federal appropriation that we're going to be able to get some capital improvement projects done through funding other places. So hopefully we'll continue on that same improvement path this year.
Let us know how we can support it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. School board. So we come to the approval of the consent calendar. But
Oh, there is. I actually put something good in there this. On the consent calendar. Dave Zastro,
Yes.
Kathy Sherman,
yes,
Deborah Adams,
Yes.
Aaron Hanson,
Yes.
Casey Kinsman,
Yes.
Lee Rainey,
Yes.
Mike Mickelson.
Yes.
Consent calendar's approved.
I maybe should have said for the folks listening, the consent calendar includes ordinance 1236. Agreeing to sell a piece of property to CEC and minutes from the council public hearing of November 5th. So consideration of bids, proposals and contracts, we don't have any tonight. We come to reports of officers. The mayor's report, I put a written summary in the packet from the community leadership forum we had a few weeks ago. Just so that people could have that instead of my rambling through it. I thought the biggest news was the fact that we might get the ferry back. Sometime in December, yeah, I emailed Representative Student Senator aide Matt Greening right after the meeting, but I haven't heard back from them to say like, are you getting definitive confirmation, so. Yeah, that's pretty great.
Yeah, so if for this leadership team, as far as meeting and pushing any particular project or program forward, is there any kind of schedule on meeting and things you're gonna focus on?
Well, my understanding is that the meetings were held twice a year in the past.
Yeah.
And so I think the idea was to coordinate with different entities so that if people were going to Juneau or to DC, we could be advocating as a group. Yeah, so.
Is the idea that would all be coordinated through you as mayor or more loosely than that?
That's a little bit loose, I guess, to be honest. Yeah. Yeah. But I will send this list out. I meant to do that. Send this out to all the people who are participating so that everybody has a written summary. Yeah. No. But yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think probably there will be regular opportunities to do that and to check in. Like I think about that Innovate Cordova Summit that's coming up in May. It's May with Senator McCaskey. So that'll be another chance to highlight some of these things. You know, there's a big emphasis for that particular venue to focus on innovative. Because funders want new shiny things. And we have a 40-year-old water distribution system. So.
I guess I wonder if there isn't some way to have that conversation continue with these leaders outside of a quarterly meeting or, a couple meetings a year, some type of, I don't know, forum. Online way that you guys can stay in touch and bring things up as they become urgent.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, I would have to give that a little bit of thought. Best ways to do that, yeah. Yeah, we can. Set up a listserv, tell people to get in touch, I don't know what, yeah, I mean, I don't know how to.
Just keep the momentum going, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it was kind of an information exchange, nobody specifically asked for help with a certain thing, so. But obviously, we all get asked from time to time for letters of support and things like that, so yeah, sure that will come up. Did you have anything in particular you wanted to?
Nothing specific, but just, I was really excited about this being picked back up again. Because I think it's important that, have, the organization leaders all communicating with one another, because often we find that we all have similar issues and we're not aware that others are running into the same problem. So, I'd love to see this actually get some traction to get some good things done.
Okay. Yeah,
Like it doesn't necessarily have to be you, does it? I mean, couldn't council members, Mayor Joyce used to do it once a month. But
No, he was doing boards and commissions.
that was
Chairs.
boards and commissions, yeah.
Yeah, monthly. But maybe a retired council member would help.
Not retired from council, which is retired.
Retired from employment.
I mean, yeah, I mean, whatever the council thinks is the best way to move forward, but I think, yeah, I love the idea of continuing this energy. I was at the meeting, representing the Forest Service. And it was great seeing all these people in the same room talking about different things and all, in agreement on a lot of what the main issues are. Obviously, you know, affordability, access, all the things that we.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I guess I feel like, do we work on those specific issues or do we get together and exchange information? And I feel like it could be more productive participating, plugging into, you know, are we gonna talk about housing? How are we gonna talk about recruiting folks to the community or tourism marketing? But yeah.
Yeah.
That's- Yeah,
Something that, I didn't either.
yes, yes. So. There aren't other questions, we could move on to the city manager's report. Excellent.
So lots of budget, as you can imagine, because we've all been doing it together. But I do have a few things that I wanted to mention. Alaska Wild Seafood M2s has rescinded their letter of interest on the T-Doc. Amanda's working through 3 RFPs right now. We are got a lot going on in that department. I don't know if the council's desire is to put that out regardless of no other interest or inquiries that the city has seen. And if so, can we wait until some of these other ones get out where there's multiple people's interest? So I'm throwing that out there, looking for a little direction on that.
So pulling or holding the T-Hawk RFP while we get the other ones out?
Well, either holding it or not doing it. I think that's kind of a council decision. You asked for it to be done with the letter of interest. The letter of interest no longer exists. We have not had any inquiries.
I mean, we saw citizen response to that, so I think it would be an issue to pull it.
Yeah, I mean, the Harbor Commission said they didn't want to see it happen.
Right.
And so,
Sally said that, yeah, like they sit on it.
yeah, I mean, that would be good.
All that list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, something else I wanted to mention, which I had to bring the little flyer, is that the Prince William Sound Community Ecology is offering like a basic construction quarter, I think. Are they quarters or semesters? I'm not sure. But in Valdez, but there's scholarships for living,
Tuition and
tuition and
room and
living.
board.
So that is a great opportunity for someone who might wanna look into that. And that is a skill set we need. Yes. So it would be great if we could get some people out there. Amanda and I, met with World Cap. And, just to try to understand what the next step is. Amanda did some good work with the P and Z and they came up with some priorities in properties. But in the end, we are thinking that the first step we're gonna make is to reach out, and we have meetings scheduled with the university lands on Whiskey Bridge to see if there's any interest in working with us and WorldCap on that particular project. They have funding for development. You know, there's so many things that make it more affordable around them. So we're working on that, and I think Kristen, you got that meeting invite for that one as well.
it's on the reroute Monday morning.
Yeah, I figured.
Coming back into those, like, this is the meeting.
But yeah, I think it was a good meeting and we learned a lot from that. So we'll keep that rolling. I've been doing a lot of work with Arctic IT, because that's my other job is IT. I'm not very good at it. But we have a good company, they help me. So we've been doing a lot on cybersecurity, just trying to get our systems in a better place. We also are almost done with the Windows 11 upgrades. I'm actually taking a computer with me when I go to Anchorage. For them to work on, because every time we mail it, it just never works out. It takes 6 months to get a computer and the English. And it's not, it's FedEx, whatever, they're mailing to us, nobody usually falls, it's just craziness. And we're also doing an inventory of computers, which have not been done for a very long time. And trying to, just make sure that what's on their list is actually being used, so. That's been interesting, learned a lot. We actually had a great, thing to tell Cam, last week, of the 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, LOA was signed by the union. And we're hoping that both positions will be filled shortly. It was a lot of work. Gaileen's amazing, she did a great job. She knows her stuff and she made it happen. I'm really, really proud of her and it was great. I did attend the Prince William Sound Economic Development annual board meeting via Zoom, and that was interesting, and I learned a lot of things that I didn't know because I just haven't been involved in all of them, so that was great. Other than that, if anybody has any questions, open.
Any questions for the manager? Online? Okay. Great, thanks, Sam. That's a lot on top of budget.
Real quick, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor,
Yes,
if I might, for Sam, any update on the pool? I'd probably be remiss if I didn't ask that, so.
sure.
That's for a fat Sam, not this Sam.
Yeah.
So, Sam, if you might have Samantha.
Hello. I spoke with the project manager today, I emailed back today, just to confirm that we were still on track for the middle of December. I will be away for a few weeks, so, she let me know that they still are planning between the 15th of December when I get back and the first of the year. That they'll be in, so.
So we know.
Fingers crossed.
To
Yeah.
do, yeah.
So it should just be a tech flying in, and I think we have all the materials here.
And then what did you say they talked to that, a water?
Tightness
Tightness
test
test.
of everything, and then it takes about 2 weeks to get the chemicals and heat it. Everything ready, then someone gets to jump in it, test it out.
Okay.
Yeah, so then we'll do
Good
some
thing.
training.
You get to jump in first.
I did last. So, yeah, we're excited and it's nice to hear that they're still on track for their timeline, so.
Yeah, I think Dave's taking the lifeguarding class too.
I think
Yeah, I'm
he'd
off.
be amazing.
We'll be very busy in retirement.
Understandable. That's the update, so fingers crossed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Thank you.
Questions? Right, let's go to the clerk's report.
Just been going from packet to meeting also. But there's an end in sight. Which is good because I noticed that on December 16th, I put on the calendar that the declaration of candidacy opens for the election. Which is 2 council members, 1 school board, 1 health services board, hospital services board. March of 26 election. And the assessors had been here and took some pictures and saw some people and they're, you know, getting ready to put the 26 roll together. And Colette and Amanda took a little field trip on a sunny day and took a bunch of pictures for the assessors who are also gonna give me some kind of a rough estimate of the lots out at Hardy Bay. And I'm still working on getting Holly here at some point, maybe in the spring, where we can have her first some kind of talk about annexation, borough formation, one of those things. That's all I'm gonna report on right now. If there's any questions.
Okay. Any questions for the clerk? Seeing any, I don't see any hands raised online. Okay, thank you, Susan. So correspondence, we have, several letters. 5 letters, one on the chamber, one on the Breakwater Field Lot. This was read out loud last time. Any comments about or questions about correspondence? Raised, okay. So we come to ordinances and resolutions, ordinance 1237. Yes.
I move to adopt ordinance 1237, an ordinance of the council of the city of Cordova, Alaska, authorizing the city manager to enter into a sale agreement with Diana Rydell and Kylie Burton for lot 4A, block 3, USS 3345.
There,
I'll
second,
I'll second.
thank you. Moved Sherman and seconded Kinsman, right? So, Councilmember Sherman, would you like to speak to the motion?
Sure, and we've been studying this one for a while, and I know staff had helped us with a lot of the issues involved. A lot of the concerns have been identified, like the sanitary main. And everybody has talked about it numerous times, and legal has reviewed it, so I guess I'm ready to, I think it's an odd lot, more power to them, but, I think we've done our due diligence.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Sherman. Councilmember Kinsman?
Thank you, Councilmember Sherman. And yes, I'm in support of this. Everyone's had an opportunity to comment on this. And I think it's time to just move forward. So thank you.
Else want to comment? On this one, anybody online? Looks like this is a roll call.
Oh, it's actually not, but I wrote that, didn't I? We can do a roll because there's 3 on the phone if you want. So on, its first reading for ordinance 1237. Kathy Sherman,
Yes.
Deborah Adams,
Yes.
Casey Kinsman,
Yes.
Mike Mickelson,
Yes.
Aaron Hanson,
Yes.
Wendy Rainey,
Yes.
Dave Zastro.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. The next action item is council action on disposal and method of disposal for a portion of lot 3. Block 7A Tidewater Development Park, which we familiarly refer to as the old Sea Grant building. Is there a motion?
Yeah.
Yes, Councilmember Zastro.
I move to dispose of a portion of lot 3, block 7A, Tidewater Development Park, AKA the Old Sea Grant Building, a structure that is approximately 750 square feet as outlined in Cordova Municipal Code 7.40.060. B, by negotiate an agreement with the party who submitted a letter of interest to lease the property in Fort Prince South Side Zone.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to, dispose of a portion of the Tidewater Development Park by negotiating an agreement. So moved Zastro and seconded Chairman Councilmember Zastro.
Yeah, the Time Center's been using this structure, under a lease for quite some time. It seems integral to their operations. I think they need to do so for storage and the work that the good work they've been doing. So, I see no reason not to move forward with negotiating and getting them continuing to use that space.
Member Sherman?
Yeah, for all the reasons Councilman Zastro mentioned, plus they do not have an alternative at their current site, so I think it's important to their daily operations.
You. Other comments? Well. Yes. Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign? Motion carries. So pending agenda. We've got. Meeting December 3rd, right? Yes. So the idea is to meet on the 3rd and the 17th. Anything else?
I think we've talked about it enough, that we're gonna do the fee schedule and budget approval on the 3rd. So there will be a public hearing. There will not be a budget work session. Cheesy Bryn.
I'll be calling in for that meeting. I'll be in Anchorage for medical that week, so. I'll be back and calling.
I'm just looking at the list of future agenda items and number 9. For ordinance 1231, council to revisit $3 million in AMLIC, will that come up on one of the 2 December?
Well, we did it once already, and we were kind of waiting to see where we landed with taxes and stuff.
So maybe it'll be on the 17th, or we will take stock on the 17th. Or what? I'm just trying to figure out how we address that.
I mean,
Somebody got a copy of $3 million before the end of the year.
we could go through a little bit of a summary of fiscal year 25, and you know, I mean, it's fairly bleak. And we will still need cash flow, but we certainly can, I mean, we're not gonna have a year-end number or anything like that, but we could talk about it if you'd like.
Well, I mean, should we change the date then?
Well, sure, I mean, I just feel like we did it once, but I mean, to meet that date, we did it once and then we had this conversations. I think the idea was that we just didn't forget to do it, so, I don't know, Cheryl, do you have a preference for time frame? Nope. Okay.
But maybe the 2nd December meeting better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, that for sure.
I just don't see any sense in discussing it until it would be nice. You know,
After we had,
another quarter of revenue again, which I know comes in 26, but why not look at it? You know,
Yeah, I guess it depends on what exactly you're wanting to look at. I mean, for me, cash flow and the $3 million is not gonna have any answers by the end of the 3rd quarter or 1st quarter, but what we, you know, the issue of the cash flow in June is not gonna go away, we know that. So we could talk about what that looks like, where the $3 million at, because we had to take money to try to balance 25. We also lost another 300,000 when the fish tax came in. So
I just wanted to either figure out how we were gonna talk about it and take it off the list if we're saying that we already have, or what.
I also didn't, I mean, we could
address quarterly? Or
maybe that's a better way to do it, because I think that the intent is not to lose it.
Yeah, and intent is not to forget about it, and try and pay it back possible, you know, that we can't, so, but I wouldn't put a date on it.
So maybe I'll change the language of it to just say
Revisit.
revisit. Yeah, that's a good word.
Update,
Yes, yes,
quarterly updates.
I
exactly.
mean, it's, yeah, tie back to the financials
Okay.
and stuff, but we could probably do a, you know, a little bit of a write-up on the 3 million and for the 17th meeting.
Okay.
It's not 3 million anymore.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, Sam's gonna help me word that.
Yeah,
So
okay,
words.
thank you. I just thought, should. Since it advertised, so like. Okay, anything? Kind of agenda.
Madam Mayor?
Councilmember Kinsman.
Yeah, I know during the budget process, it's been brought up at least once, if not more than that, reevaluating our kind of budget cycle, maybe to align more with the state. So moving from a calendar 12-month to more of a fiscal model. So I don't know what the appetite is for that. I think there's pros and cons to that, and I know it's not going to happen next year. I understand that, but the conversation needs to happen at some point if that's what we're interested in doing, and coming up with a well thought out plan of how we transition from our current model to a new model of budgeting. So I didn't want that to be lost on us as we end this budget cycle, and with that, we're always preparing for the next budget cycle. So.
Would you like to comment on Cheryl?
Just not being.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. We are kind of in the fact finding portion of it, trying to find anyone who recently or in the past 20 years has made that transition. That's similar to Cordova. So right now, just kind of reaching out to some colleagues and see what we can find out on maybe things that they went through or pitfalls. But it is something that you don't want to do quickly. You move fast, break things. So it has ripple effects. It could potentially affect election schedule, just lots of things to think about, but we can report back on that as we gather information.
Thank you. So should we put it on pending agenda just as something to?
Yeah.
So we don't forget.
That makes sense, yeah.
And I just want to say thank you, Cheryl, for that follow-up. I appreciate that hasn't got lost to us. I know that, again, it needs to be a thought-out process. So thank you.
Thanks, okay. Good for now? Okay, so that's pending agenda, audience participation. Any takers?
I think it's only the children.
Council comments. So I'm gonna start on this side this time. If my council member Hanson. Go first.
I'd just like to thank staff for all the time and effort and, yeah, thank you.
Members Astor.
Yeah, obviously staff needs to be thanked every time for all the work they do. Especially right now with everything we've gone through with budget and we are where we are right now. But I have to say, if I look through our work session packet, I'm looking at the different rounds of cuts and I'm looking at where we've been able to save money, the Hospital for one, kicking back funds. The thing that really jumps out at me is we have 2 positions that were laid off So it's no small thing, let people go in such a small community has effect on everybody, so it's not been easy, and it's not great. And there's a lot of pain to go around, but I feel like everybody involved understands where we're at. As well as the chamber, I think Kathy tonight expressed very clearly she understood who we are right now as well, so. Yeah, hard decisions were made, but hopefully things will look up as time goes by. I don't think Sam thinks so, but anyhow, I really appreciate the Copper River Watershed coming in and talk about the weir. That's a great upside. We're really happy to see that moving forward. Everything in the packet and the descriptions of the city's ownership of it seems great. It feels like the right thing to do moving forward. That's really great to see. Good. Thank you.
Member Sherman?
Yeah, thanks to Stan and Susan and everybody for all the hard work. These have been brutal and there's not enough chocolate in the world to help. And I hope the community understands that these decisions were not made lightly, and we did everything we could to try and save positions, save opportunities for business growth, and keep community intact. I think I try to be optimistic every day, and I try and look around, and there are going to be things happening. Here's the historian part of me, and I remember Levon Branshaw telling this to me too. She said, Kathy, everything always goes in cycles, even history. And think about when the mines closed down, and then when fishing got really good, and then statehood came and closed everything, and then, there's the earthquake, and there's the fires, and there's the oil spill, but it's always this. So there's the up and the down, and I just remember about 25-year cycles. If you go back and look, so I just gonna feel optimistic that we're in the down coming up, so. And I hope everybody has a good Thanksgiving, and there are no meetings next week, hopefully. So. No meetings. That's my remaining.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add to that. Appreciate the pain and suffering through the budget for everybody. Cheryl, everybody. I appreciate all the hard work Amanda's doing right now. I know you've got full plate, and I think you're knocking it out of the park. I've been watching the PNC meetings, and they're going well, and there's a lot of community input, which is interesting to watch and not have to be in the room. So that's fun. Copper River Watershed Project. I didn't have to threaten anybody for a phone number this time, so I call that a win. I think we're moving forward with that. Although, if he could read through the entire project for me and possibly wear a kilt at the next presentation, I would not be opposed to that, so just saying. But thanks to everybody else for all the hard work. I really have put a lot of energy into this. I know we all have, and it's not an easy chair to sit in, so thank you all.
Thank you. Councilmember Kinsman?
Yes, thank you. Just thank you, council, for your efforts in this budget cycle. I guess really thank you, Councilmember Sherman, for that insight. This is where we're at right now. And I really appreciate staff and their prudence in coming up with something sustainable. Hopefully we can perpetuate into years to come with really not including some of the federal funding and state funding that we've historically included in our budget process. So I know that has led to a lot of the tough decisions that we're at now. I know we have two positions that were laid off. And with that, I just want to say, and not that it makes life easier or any of those things, but just thank you to, I think we had Miss Anderson and Miss Vicken, and I apologize if I pronounced wrong, but I just want to say that these are people who were laid off during this budget process. So it's not just a position, it's not just a number, it's not just even a dollar amount. These are human beings that we laid off during this process. So I think that's important to note. It's important to me to note, and I'd want that similar kind of respect and acknowledgement also if I were in their positions. So I think I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Adams?
Thank you. Ditto on much of this. We all appreciate the difficulty of this process, and it's the first go around for me. So still learning, and I'm thinking about Thanksgiving next week, and that I am thankful for the staff at the city who have worked diligently on this, and I'm also thankful for my fellow councilmen. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Councilmember Mickelson?
Well, I would echo the comments of all the other council members. I certainly emphasize for people that are being affected by these cuts, but I think the one thing I'll say is that we are certainly not alone in the state of Alaska with other communities making these hard decisions. And so I think there's some solace in that. It's certainly disconcerting to see another business closing its doors, which has happened since the last council meeting. Hopefully we can see a little light at the end of the tunnel, and I was really happy to hear that the Weir project is going well. So with that, thank you everyone, and thank you to staff.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate everybody's comments. I appreciate the reflections that people are sharing, and the hard work that everyone has put in, and yeah, we have things to be thankful for and things that we're wishing could be otherwise, and but I appreciate the thought that everybody puts into this as a group, and the comments that people have come in and made as a community, so thank you. I do just want to say, because it's getting dark so early, just as a little PSA safety moment, want to encourage people when they're out walking to walk facing traffic.
And wear something reflective.
And wear reflective
At least don't wear all black.
clothing, yeah, right. As somebody said recently, don't wear clothing that's the color of wet concrete. You're not walking, but yeah, wear reflective clothing, walk facing traffic, that'd be great. Yeah, just a little PSA as it gets dark earlier and earlier, so thanks. All right, well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for staff for spending your Wednesday night with us. We really appreciate your time. Right, meeting with no further objection. Or is there a motion to?
You just said.
Okay.
Sure, at AML, then I'll say that that's okay. Yeah, we can do it. All right, we did recess the work session, so we're just gonna end it.
Yeah.
The interview, you did an interview recently?
Yes,
Dr. Frank,
and he's coming up for a visit.
okay.
Yeah, then just have to go back
After Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I can update on the third. It's after the third.
Okay.
Yeah, just go back into the work session and.
Okay. For the record, we will go back into the work session at 8:08. And is there anybody who wants to comment on the 2026 budget or the general fund budget or the enterprise funds budgets and fee schedule? Okay, I don't see anybody rushing the mic, so I think we can adjourn the public hearing. The work session, sorry, that's the.
Thank you.
Yeah, please. Okay.
We're done.
We're done.
I'm done. Yeah, really cool.
That's the area code, no one.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Yes, good night.